What is up, everyone? It's time for our top 5 new brews #1 deck. And this one is a pretty sweet deck. It's kind of like a combo pipe dream, Maze's End type deck. So yeah, let's look at it. So this is what I'm calling Key Rooms. This is a deck that involves, well, if you didn't guess it from the title, the new room cards, from the set. And actually, a lot of this deck is new cards. I'll have to admit that it's a majority new cards because it's revolving around the rooms. But we do have a few old ones that make it kind of work a little bit smoother. I'm also hinging on the idea because I tried to look it up. I couldn't confirm it anywhere. I probably need like a judge to confirm it or just test it out in Arena when it starts. But I'm assuming that the second half of the rooms is an activated ability. So you cast the first side as an enchantment, but then once it's on the battlefield, the best I can tell, it's an activated ability. So this kind of hinges on that a little bit. We'd have to change the deck a little bit if that's not the case, but we will see. So, all right, let's take a look at the deck. So I can't organize it by mana value because the rooms are just all over the place with their mana values and makes it a little bit tricky. So bear with me. We're going to do the best that we can, but I think you're going to like it. So in our creatures, we've got things that help us to cast our rooms or to open our doors. The first one is Creeping Peeper. It's a 1 and a blue. Add blue mana, and you can spend this mana to only cast an enchantment spell or unlock a door or turn a permanent face up. So typically in the past, these 2 mana dorks in blue have not been that useful. A lot of times they said add a colorless, and they said only use it to cast instants and sorceries. And it turns out adding colorless is really not that useful when you want to cast things like counter spells and the cancels and all that kind of stuff, because you need 2 blue pips. So getting the 1 colorless really isn't that helpful, and the mana dork dies to everything. So yeah, turns out it's not that helpful. But in this deck, it gives you a blue mana. It helps you with the enchantments and with unlocking rooms. So I think the benefit is good enough that we want to try to run this one. We're also running Entity Tracker, the Enchantress type effect, because basically we don't want to run out of gas, and every time we cast a room, we want to draw cards, and then every time we unlock a room, we want to draw cards. And this has flash, so you can kind of surprise the opponent, flash it in, and then cast a couple rooms, and you'll get a couple cards out of it, and you'll be very happy. And then maybe they already wasted their removal on the Creeping Peeper because they're worried you're going to do something with the mana, and they don't have removal for your tracker, so there's kind of a upside there. And the other 2-drop we have is Inquisitive Glimmer. This is another new one from the set. It's white and a blue for a 2/3. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and unlock cost 1 less to cast. So the initial casting of your room is 1 cheaper, which is gonna make, because right now the value of most of the rooms that we're playing are pretty good. Sometimes they're overcosted by just a little bit, like maybe half a mana too much, but not too much. So if you're getting 1 mana discount, you're going to be pretty happy with that. And also the unlocking part is crucial as well, because that's how we're going to win the game. And then finally, the final creature is Ghostly Dancers. This is 3 white for a 2/5 flying. When it enters, return an enchantment from your graveyard or unlock a locked door of a room you control. And most of the time we're going to choose to unlock something in this deck because we want to try to finish off unlocking everything and get our super expensive unlock costs. It also has Eerie, that whenever you cast an enchantment or unlock a room, you get a 3 white spirit token. So it's a value engine on its own if the opponent doesn't kill it. But even just the ETB is pretty good. And then the final pieces we got: Keys to the House, 1 mana artifact. So these are our turn 1 plays. You can cast this, and then later on we're going to use it to unlock the big side of the room. In a pinch, you can use it to get a land, but most of the time we're going to save this to unlock the expensive room side. It's kind of like ramp, like really good ramp. And then we're also running Enigma Jewel, again kind of like ramp. and this gives you 2 colorless for activated abilities. It enters tapped. That's unfortunate, but we've seen that this is really powerful already in current standard. People have some combo decks working for this, so we know it's good. And so yeah, the Enigma Jewel can help us pay for our key. It can also help us unlock our second halves of the room once the enchantment gets on the battlefield. Again, assuming it's an activated ability. If it turns out that it's not an activated ability, you probably will cut the jewel, maybe add another key, and go from there. So yeah, I'm still under that assumption right now. And then for the rooms that we got, we focused on the removal room. So the first one here is a blink effect on the cheap side. 1 mana blink gets into the battlefield. And then the other side, whenever a creature deals combat damage, you draw a card. That one's, not that useful for us. We do have some creatures. We have some flying ones. We have some flash ones. So there's chances we can get in for damage, but it's not super likely. So more often than that, we're not going to unlock that second side, at least at the beginning. The next one is Central Elevator and Promising Stairs. So the first side is 3 mana, the right side is 3 mana. Whenever at the beginning of your upkeep, you surveil 1. You win the game if there are 8 or more different names among unlocked doors or rooms you control. So that's one of our main win cons. That's basically the main win con, is that we want to have 8 unlocked rooms. And that's why we have so many ways to kind of turbo out unlocking rooms or casting new rooms. So, the keys are going to unlock them for us. This makes it cheaper. This automatically unlocks them. We have the Enigma Jewel to make it cheaper. So hopefully with all that ramping and, kind of cheating, unlocking things, then we can get 8 out pretty quickly. And we have a lot of removal to kind of slow the game down to let you get that goal. All right. And then the other side of this one, whenever you unlock this door, search for a room card that you don't currently have, and put it into your hand. So if you're missing some pieces of your maze's end, essentially, you can unlock that to search your deck for it and find your final pieces. And then, I mentioned there's removal. So we have Glassworks. This is 3 mana to deal 4 to a creature. And then the other side, not that important, but at the beginning of your end step, deal 1 damage to each opponent. That's another way you can win very, very slowly. I don't foresee you doing that except for maybe a control matchup. But yeah, at least the 3 mana removal side is pretty decent. We also are running 3 of the sweeper rooms. So 2 and a white. When you unlock this door, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And that's key because every single one of our creatures we're running has power 2. So they will not die to our sweeper, but everything else that's bigger than our creatures will die. And then the other side of this one, other permanents you control have hexproof. That's pretty big. That may be with the candidate we want to use the key or the ghostly dancers to unlock, because if we can get everything with hexproof, the opponent can't stop our win con. They can't blow up, our promising stairs or things like that. If we get hexproof, maybe our ghostly dancer doesn't get removed and we keep getting that eerie effect of creating the 3/1 spirit tokens, which is another way we can win the game. So I think the hexproof is going to be pretty big. So turn 4, you cast this, you wipe the board, and then hopefully turn 5, you can give everything hexproof for, basically 1 mana if you have this combo, or if you cast your ghostly dancers, then you just use that as the unlock effect. All right, and this is the best room by far, the Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna. 1 in a red. When you cast this one, you deal damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to target creature. So in the early game, it's our 2 mana removal. And then for 5 mana, you have no maximum hand size and you draw a card at the beginning of your end step. So you get a card immediately after you unlock it. So that's another really good candidate we would want to unlock, the Steaming Sauna with the key or with the Ghostly Dancers. And then finally, the final room we got is the Smoky Lounge or the Misty Salon. For 3 mana at the beginning of your first main phase, you add 2 red, and you can spend this only to cast rooms or unlock doors. So again, another ramp type effect to help us unlock the rooms quickly and get our 8. So if you have like Smoky Lounge down and the Enigma Jewel down and, you know, maybe the Inquisitive Glimmer, you're going to be unlocking stuff pretty quickly. Like you'll probably be able to unlock 2 rooms a turn at that rate. And then the other side of that room, the Misty Salon, 3 and a blue. When you unlock this door, create an XX blue spirit token with flying, where it's the number of rooms you control that are unlocked. So, you know, it costs 4 mana to do that one. Probably by that point, you'll have 2 or 3 rooms, maybe 4 unlocked. And so it's going to be like a 4/4 flyer. Maybe it could be even bigger. You can wait until you have a lot down. Maybe you have 7 or so, and you can make a giant 7/7. So it's pretty powerful as well. The only reason I'm not running more of them, I only have 2 right now, is because it's a little bit expensive. So I tried to focus on the sweeper, the 2 mana removal, and a couple of the bounce spells here, and a couple of the 3 mana removals. So that is the main idea. We have, you know, 6 different room cards, which means there's 12 different unlockable rooms. To get your win con here, you know, you need to have 8 unlocked doors. So you could have one of each of these cards and then a couple extra unlocked doors to win. So it's not impossible. You would probably want to wait to play your Promising Stairs as long as possible, unless you're really in a pinch. And yeah, that's it. So it's kind of like Maze's End. If you've ever played that, where you're trying to get all the gates, assemble the gates, and win the game with an alternate win con. But we do have ways to win with the 3/1 spirits and the giant flying creatures that we can create with the Misty Salon. And then we have the enchantment land, Valgavoth's Lair, of course, to go with our entity tracker, so we can immediately draw cards off of that. That's the really main only reason we have it. It's also, you know, color fixing. We're playing Jeskai color, so it's a little bit tricky to get the colors, but that certainly helps. And we've got some of the new Verge lands here in blue-white, along with some basics, so that we can hopefully turn it on every once in a while. But that's about it. So you get the idea of the deck. You're kind of ramping to get all your rooms unlocked and hopefully win the game. That's it for the #1 top 5 new brews #1. We'll have some honorable mentions coming up. I'll be posting them on Twitter. I probably won't make videos for them since you know, it's a lot of effort, and typically people just want to see the deck lists anyway. So but yeah, if you really want to see video talking about them, you know, let me know in the comments. But until next time, hope you enjoy the set. Have a blessed day, and see ya.